I'm impressed with this group. The fact that you understood the linkage, the interconnectivity of 50 between your communities and how much relationship that has between a rural tourism forum community such as Placerville and a pretty suburban/urban community as Rancho Cordova is very impressive. Does not happen a lot. Started with Greenspan essentially trying to get us out of the last recession, all right? And started easing up monetary policies at the Fed level. And they started cutting interest rates and started making money easier to get. And at the time it seemed like a great idea, but you'll notice recently in the last few months they start calling it this current recession the Greenspan recession. When a year ago they were saying he was the hero. Now they're saying he's the one that caused it. I think we all know that the Central Valley's been hit harder than anywhere else in the country, except for maybe Florida and a couple of other states. Merced was, you saw in the paper, Merced was the most recent highest foreclosure rate. Stanislaus, Merced, and San Joaquin County, we just traded off each month. With the flow of money, it really eased up the credit to exceptionally high levels, and so what happened is people started taking that equity out of their homes because the prices started escalating. Okay? Essentially what happened is people started using the houses as credit cards. Okay? Well, what happened was, at the same time as people started, this wealth started increasing, lenders started finding very creative ways to make new ways to loan money. And essentially, they started lending funds, cutting them up into new forms of mortgages, and then diversifying those and sending those to new investors. Even to the extent that the current economy slowdown is being felt in foreign countries because a large percentage of, not a large percentage, but a percentage of foreign company stock portfolios are made up of the mortgages that they didn't know include subprime loans in it. So what I guess I'm trying to characterize to you that this is very pervasive, this current economic downturn. Or all of a sudden, the Fed started to see the inflation rate start to increase, and they went, oh, I think we've cut it enough, and so they started pulling back. Well, once they started pulling back, then the house of cards started to fall apart. Which was people taking equity out of their homes. In 1 year, that accounted for $25 billion put into our local economy. People are no longer taking that out. That is the reason that it's not just a housing bust. That's why you're seeing losses of jobs in many other parts of our economy right now. You probably read in the paper that they had a great month this last month. You know, housing sales went up wonderfully. Well, if you look at your areas, and I apologize, these are the three communities that Carol Ann highlighted. I think these are the three key ones, are they not? Right. Yeah. In March, you can see the fact that home sales essentially went to nothing. Folsom did pretty good. I think we had my community, we had two last month. Housing prices are continuing to drop overall. Well, if you go to April, you get kind of a weird anomaly in Rancho Cordova. But the homes have gone up, but the prices continue to go down. Why is that? I think you all know. The only thing that's selling is foreclosures. Okay? That's the only thing that's really selling in most cases. Foreclosures right now make up about 40 to 50% of all homes sold in our region. And those are going for bottom dollar at this point. Sacramento's going to do better than us down in the North San Joaquin area. You have a fairly good employment base coming out of Sacramento, and that's why those numbers I showed you earlier are much better than what we have in San Joaquin, Merced, and Stanislaus. But you're going to continue to see some prices dropping. I stuck with the title, and Caroline and I talked about that. I completely agree with you. Caroline and I talked about that. The recession was just kind of to shape the subject. But in reality, we're in an economic downturn. And anybody who watches the market knows that primarily there's a lot of issues that they deal with, but when all is said and done, it's the human effect. It's the psychology of how people feel. Do they feel like things are okay or don't they? And that has a big effect on how our economy does.
And what they do.
Exactly.
Just what they do.
Well said, what they do. People's income, on average, in terms of how you calculate it, the rest of the country it went up. In California, it went down. And the reason was the equity in the houses misrepresented people's value. And so what happened is salaries were not raised as quickly as they should have. And what we find ourselves in now is a situation with inflation increasing, as you indicated, with a housing situation that is continuing to drop, and finally a circumstance where people have money but they're not spending it. And that there's still money out there, but people are just not feeling comfortable right now. Have income, but they're pulling back. I mean, everybody knows. They say Macy's are now going to Target, and Target's now going to Walmart. Okay? Well, I want you to know something. They're not going to Walmart either. People are really pulling back.
Yep.
So we're kind of creating, I think, as you were starting to say, it's our own self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, what's going to happen? We're going to pull out of this.
Yep.
Okay? And growth is going to come back. And it's going to come back not the same. That was a very unique situation we ran into with the way the speculation occurred, and there's going to be all sorts of criteria now placed on lenders, and all sorts of things are going to go happen. But this whole issue is 400,000 people a year, used to hear it was 500,000, they now dropped it down to 400,000 people, are coming to California, with or without the current economic situation. They're just living together in the same homes.
So they're not coming here, they're being born here.
They're being born here, but the greater percentage is immigration. And actually, what's real interesting is, and it could
Not from
affect
other
places.
states, but from out of the country.
Exactly, okay. And I'm not going to get into a long discussion of legal or illegal immigration, but that is a fact of our
The
state.
fact is, it's happening.
And it's not going to stop.
And what's interesting,
I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but it is not going to stop. You've got to really watch and see how the economy's changing and have an understanding of the market forces that are in effect, because retail and jobs coming to your area are going to change to some extent in terms of how they traditionally approach it. It has changed the landscape. Economic, social, and environmental forces that are going. The two biggest demographic groups for California in the future are going to be baby boomers and immigrants. And how are those two going to interact? Okay? And the baby boomers are the ones that vote. The immigrants are the ones that are going to need the services. And then how are our kids going to fit into all of that? So you've got to think about how that affects the plans that you put together. Are the city-county growth and development policies and standards compatible with one another? I tried to go through some of your general plans and things, and I think El Dorado County as a rural county, I'm not surprised of some of the things in there. I'm impressed it has an economic element. That was good. That was very good. But it does encourage growth outside cities.